Welcome back to DWeb Decoded, your guide to navigating the decentralized web. Today I talked to Jenks Guo, who's a developer advocate on staff at Filecoin Foundation. We talk about how Jenks has navigated the transition from dev advocacy in Web 2 to working with developer communities in Web 3, and we discuss what he enjoys most about helping developers and teams to better understand how they can plug into the Filecoin IPFS stack. Welcome to the show, Jenks.
It's great to be here, Aaron.
Amazing. So you're one of our top developer advocates on staff at the Filecoin Foundation, and you work across the foundation, the Protocol Labs network, kind of the whole community. And really excited to learn more about what you do and some of the projects you've been working on, how you're helping to support the community in various facets. But would love to learn a bit more about your journey, kind of into the Filecoin Foundation and into the world of Web3, and we'll dive into all that and more. So why don't you just give us a quick sort of introduction to yourself and how you kind of found your way into the world of Filecoin and Web3.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks for using the word top developer advocate. There's only two developer advocates in Filecoin Foundation, so I can only imagine what the other one feels like. His name is Ben.
He's definitely inferior. But we'll get him on the show to defend himself, but eventually.
Right, yeah. As a developer advocate at Filecoin Foundation, I play many roles, and I also work in a border working group between Protocol Labs and Filecoin Foundation called Ecosystem Working Group. Ecosystem Working Group consists of a lot of people there. I'm one of them, and our goals is to push the network forward. That is the Filecoin network. The network has three goals in general. One is increasing capacity. That means attracting more storage providers to provide their equipment to the network. So meaning hard drives for the network for now at this stage. The second goal is to attract more clients. So clients like NASA, UC Berkeley, MIT, these kind of storage clients that really need decentralized storage to back up their data. We want to attract more of those. The third role, which is highly relevant to my job role, is the adoption of the technology from the network. So the network makes a lot of different primitives. There's IPFS, there's Filecoin related storage tools. A lot of them requires advocacy and evangelism to the mass, to the funders and developers out there, so they know about these kind of technologies and they can consider that using in their projects. My job is to help them to realize that there are options, it's easy to integrate, and also it brings value to their project. How I got into Web3, it's quite an interesting journey, I have to say. I was a telecommunication engineer at Ericsson many years ago. I learned front-end development, JavaScript, and also then I was put on a client-facing role to be the integration engineer that goes to customer site and listen to their requirements and turn them into technical requirements. I literally build mobile phone plans for smaller telecommunication companies with a charging and billing system that my team built. And that was kind of my exposure to a role that is between people relations and tech at the time. And I realized, oh my god, I really like this kind of combination, and I couldn't do more of that at the job at Ericsson. So I decided to look for a role that I can put 100% of my time in this. So that's when I came across with Xero, XERO, the accounting software that is very successful in Southern Hemisphere. They invested big on ecosystem early on, and they were hiring people like me as developer evangelist to tell people about the amazing developer systems, developer platforms that they have. So they have APIs, SDKs in major languages, and a lot of different ways to use this, so people don't have to build boring accounting softwares backend. So they just have to integrate to them. So I had a lot of fun. In fact, 3.5 years over there. And then I was hired by Linktree. Linktree is an influencer site builder. So in a few minutes, anyone can build a little website with a lot of buttons on it. So it kind of aggregates all the traffic from different platforms to one. And then from there, the influencer or the content creator can decide where people goes, where people's attention goes. So for many years, I've been in developer relations or ecosystem roles, and it excites me because when I wake up, I always work for the entire community, not just for a team or for a manager. This makes me feel like I'm not working, and I haven't felt like I've been working for many years. It may sound like a brag because it is. I do think I have one of the best job in the world. So to the ones who are not very familiar with developer relations role, it's a very multifaceted role. It's very hard to explain it in one word. It's like project management. I manage project. I can't explain that in such a way, but this multifaceted role can only be explained from perspectives of different roles. So to the developer teams that is out there, external developer teams, I'm always the one who knows best about our products, and I'm product marketer. To marketing team, I'm the tech guru, and then to product managers, I know the user demand. I'm closest to the user, so developer users out there. And to the dev community, I'm usually a passionate influencer, although I could do a little bit better than at that. So yeah, that's my job and how I got here. I was approached by Filecoin, and the idea of decentralized storage, and also being able to work in blockchain industry excites me. I was going to choose either AI or blockchain technology to go into for my next job, and blockchain found me first. So this is how I ended up here.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got you before Sam Altman did in his. It'll be interesting to see what his role actually is whenever this episode airs, because it seems to be changing every day at this point. But anyway, so with that being said, that's really interesting description. I like the way you articulated the developer relations role, because it is one of these that's like very, yeah, it's kind of like, it's sort of like a Rorschach test, right? It kind of like depends on like who's looking at it, like the definition of it and what it actually is sort of depends on who's the person, like it depends on like, the vantage point of the person who's approaching it, right? um Maybe talk a bit about like how does devrel in like web 2 differ from web 3, like how, like is there any really functional difference in your role from like what you're doing at Linktree or at Zero, and what you're doing now in Filecoin land?
At Linktree, my role was actually a little bit more than DevRel. So my job was to bring the developer platform to the whole company. At the time, so Linktree, if anyone is has used it, it's a very simple tool to build sites. And in fact, the whole product was built by my manager at the time. Um, so he said he claimed that it was built in 2 hours using PHP Symfony. It was an extremely simple tool, right? His name is Mike Waters. He's also a very talented music producer. He sings himself as well. So it was it, it's it's a simple tool, but it blew up, right? So because it
Mm.
solves a problem that we have right now, and it kind of is related to Web two, the problem we have in Web two, and why we have this Web three journey as well. It's because the website industry, or the online presence, digital presence of everyone is quite fragmented, right? If you're an influencer, let's say Aaron, you're a podcaster, you might be dealing with at least three or four or five social media websites out there. That is because to get your message through, you need to use these platforms, and it's highly fragmented. In fact, an average sort of power Linktree users uses about 15 to 20 different platforms to create content. So the traffic sort of is everywhere, and you kind of have to bag those platforms and play by their rules to be able to get your message out there. Linktree allows your fans or your followers to be able to go to a single place, so you can aggregate it, you can analyze the data of different traffic, and determine which channel is the best. And it gives you the golden opportunity to also convert and kind of a show yourself. Like it's platform agnostic, so you can show different kind of work from different platforms, and from there determine people's attention go. My job there was that at the time when I tried to join Linktree, they have about 200 companies that is trying to build integration with them. So it could be a video contest a website or a manual website that wants to put like their restaurant menus in Linktree. It could also be a payment system or e-commerce site that wants to put products on Linktree, so it's a little bit closer to the social media, closer to where people convert. Clearly, it was not something that the product team can build and maintain. Imagine building 200 features that are all talking to the external systems, and you have to maintain it. It was clear that they need a ecosystem strategy, so they can build tool sets and platforms to maintain that as a whole, and then get their partners to build and get their partners to contribute their developer resources to build these things. So my job was to build that, and I have delivered part of that for them with the short time that I have there. So it was a very interesting journey. So being coming from a DevRel perspective, understanding what developers needs, to being able to convince leadership to go into ecosystem business, and then propose, and then eventually got the roadmap nailed down, resource allocated, and then led the team to start building. So I encountered many challenges, and one of them, just pick one. And one of them is that because Linktree has so many customers on it, in fact, when I joined, it was 12 million users. Now they have 30 million users. Each click will generate a lot of cost to them on AWS. And we're constantly breaking limits of what AWS can offer. So I made a mistake of using serverless architecture. And it turns out anything that has more than 1,000 requests per second per minute, the serverless architecture is not suitable for. So we kind of broke the limit of AWS account architecture there.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. that's that's like something to hang your hat on, right? That's a pretty good accomplishment. Um,
Yeah, well, thank you.
so yeah. So I mean, then moving over to your work at Filecoin Foundation, like how do you kind of how do you differentiate, kind of what you're doing at Filecoin versus what you're doing kind of in Web 2 land? Like what do you like? What do you like about this that's maybe kind of different or more kind of engaging? And you're obviously dealing with an ecosystem, but it's not just like clients necessarily. It's more of like a broader ecosystem of community members and different folks who are just looking to build on Filecoin or integrate with Filecoin. Uh, what do you enjoy most about kind of the Web3 DevRel role?
Yeah, so first of all, like the Filecoin's mission is pretty interesting, and in fact, the whole Web3 mission is very interesting. It encourages the decentralization of the web, right? That's a fascinating topic I've never thought of before this job. Um, I did a lot of study afterwards because I just couldn't understand the concept and why. And then after I understood why, it couldn't be more clear. Centralization lead to abuse and misuse, and our history has is full of it. The rise of European dominance, and then the U.S. sanctions are classic examples of that. So tools that Protocol Labs and Filecoin has made, such as IPFS, provides primitives for getting rid of central coordination in a network. So it's clear that internet is so valuable. Why should we let this also experience the same thing that we did for our money system and our economic systems, right? The second thing is that the with all the with all these centralization and the crisis that we have seen, mass communication played a very important role in there. So at first it was print media. People figured out that we can print paper or words very quickly using machines, and then there was radio and TV broadcast that helped to sort of spread the words of new ideas of social structure. Today we have Web 2 platforms such as Twitter, YouTube videos, and such, and podcasts like this. We can spread words very quickly as well. So with blockchain, IPFS as primitives, and then mass media broadcast methods such as this, we have a perfect sort of revolution brewed. And this one is Web3, and a lot of people are working towards it very fast. So the like imagine reinventing the internet is a hard job, right? The current internet had about decades, and maybe 100 years to be perfected. But in Web3, to be able to do it very quickly, you need a lot of resources, but also you need radically different ways of doing things. A lot of the infrastructure tools, a lot of primitives were built, and these primitives are built so that developers can build things on top of it, much like a Lego, or a toolkit that a factory has made, so that other areas, other makers can use these tools to make more sophisticated tools, or make tools that is specific to local market or a specific vertical. So this makes like developer relations a very important role in Web3 companies, because the fact that most of their customers are developers, it should be customers, this makes like the developer relations role kind of the first class citizen, in a Web3 company. Developers are very hard to market to. Developers are very hard to be convinced of. They're smart, they're direct, they're short on time, and they smell sales pitch a mile away. They hate to be marketed. So to be able to market them, the only way is to demonstrate that the tool is indeed better. And it might be very rude on keyboard, as well. But if you get to talk to them on a teleconference or face to face, they're actually very nice. So in Web2 companies, DevRel is kind of nice to have. A lot of people don't realize the importance of it. To Web3 companies, DevRel is the delivery force of sales, and
Hmm.
it kind of gets respected so as well. So it couldn't be it's not it couldn't be more satisfying to work in a Web3 company as DevRel person. Before Filecoin, I also started DevRel Australia meetup group, to be able to grow the profession bigger in Australia. But then later on, I pivoted to consulting businesses on ecosystem strategies. A, there is money in it. B, also I realized if the companies don't realize that they need to hire DevRel, there's no way I can grow that bigger. So yeah, that was my pivot, and that's what I think like developer relations, is to Web3.
And maybe talk us through a bit of like what does your average day look like, and like how are you allocating most of your time right now? And maybe not to layer on too many questions here, but maybe what are you kind of like what parts of the Filecoin ecosystem are you like just spending most time and energy on currently?
Yeah. I wish there's an average day that I can talk about, but there's no day that is average. It's quite different every day depending on priorities. I think being able to kind of adjust your priority according to a status of different things and priorities of the organization is important, and everyone should do that in any job role. But yeah, the days look quite different from day to day. So and working in a radically open organization like a Filecoin is also making that even messier, because your role is public facing. Like my Slack channel is public, that I use to update everyone. I think it has about 1,500 people or 1,800 people listening to there. I used to do daily updates there, and everyone can see what I'm up to that day. So it's quite different. But to summarize, I spend about 80% of my time communicating with different roles in the ecosystem. Lots of chats, lots of meetings, external meetings to get people connected. There will be funders, there will be solo developers, there will be open source projects that wants to get to where they want to. And then my job is to find the right person for them to talk to if it is something that I can't solve right away. I also provide a lot of consultancy, free for a lot of funders out there that are intrigued about decentralized storage solutions that we provide. I help developers to find the questions to their answers, where our documentation and videos explainers is not able to get them there. Um, so that accounts for about 80% of the time. Then for the rest 20% of the time, it's either planning something like some initiatives that I wanted to do, or writing content and writing code. Unfortunately, I haven't done much of that, but I would like to do a little bit more because I think like to be able to sell to developers or market to developers, you need to be a good developer yourself. I'm not a very great developer. So that's why I practice. I record my learning journey and then share with developers so I can be a little bit better at my job. There's also so recently my role has been focused on a little bit more to the enterprise sales side. So I'm working with some software solutions that are that acts as middleware layer to extract the complexity of Filecoin storage, and then provides like a customer facing or business facing tools, so it's easy for them to onboard data to a Filecoin. They don't necessarily have to know that Filecoin is decentralized storage is behind it. They just have to know, oh, this tool provides me really good resiliency in data backup, and also the experience is quite similar to cloud tools that I use. So that requires enterprise sales skills, relationship management, and also a little bit of project management. Because those projects are not really owned by us, they're just community projects that are trying to build a solution on top of your technology. So I'm getting a little bit used in that area, and also I'm actively working with a lot of storage providers to understand their pain points and then use their tool sets like for Filecoin storage providing, and try to work out a better solution for them to make their operations more efficient.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, like that's a lot of hats that you wear. So that's very impressive that you're able to sort of juggle all those things and document everything along the way. Um, and just out of curiosity here, on going back to your earlier comments about how like developers are very difficult to market to. They're generally people that can sell smell a sales pitch from a mile away, and you have to you have to basically prove to them that like, hey, this is a product that's going to make your life easier in some capacity, to get them to pay attention to you. Um, and I'd like you to maybe expand a bit more on that, and maybe even broaden it out a bit more, and talk about like what is it about Filecoin and IPFS that is what is sort of like the superpower of Filecoin IPFS that would attract a developer to either build on one of these protocols or integrate with it or just be involved in the ecosystem somehow vis-a-vis there's obviously kind of like there's been this kind of mad scramble for developers in the Web3 world for years now. All these other kind of competing protocols are doing, they have kind of their own programs and their own DevRel teams and their own grants programs and all these things designed to sort of funnel developers into their respective ecosystems. But what do you see as kind of the Filecoin IPFS superpower that attracts developers here?
Yeah, so when it's very surprising that when I explain the concept of IPFS, like decentralized hypermedia protocol, and a cluster of computer that helps you to transfer things peer to peer, no one objects this idea. A lot of technical people will just take it in, and have a think of what they can make use of this tool. They will never object the idea of decentralization for some reason. Maybe it's because the internet was kind of designed to be decentralized at the beginning. It should be peer to peer, and they know that it's more resilient that way. What actually was the resistance for using IPFS from developers at the beginning when I first started my job was actually the performance. Oh, it's crap. It takes like 100 milliseconds to retrieve a file and all that. It's great, but I don't want to use it because it doesn't offer us the same performance as the rest. So same for Filecoin. So Filecoin is a network of storage devices, or you can call them data centers, because the scale is pretty big for each of our storage providers. To be able to store things is pretty slow. To be able to retrieve things is pretty slow as well. And just a lot of people don't understand the kind of the scale that we operate in. But then, like to them, I never had good answers to them. I was like, oh, I'll take it back and check why it takes so slow. There are two reasons. A, it's decentralized technology is intrinsically different from centralized technology. You can't compare apple to apple. Two is this, the technology is still very new, right? So it's undergoing a lot of improvements, and Protocol Labs and Filecoin Foundation have been giving out a lot of grants as public goods to different projects to improve the performance. Anything that can help with either education, the research and coding implementation, I should say, of these projects, we give out a huge amount of funding to them, and there's no complications, right? So it's much more effective way of encouraging notification of what crypto projects run, like you mentioned earlier. So as a result, the performance improved a lot. So using IPFS today developers have much better experience than before. We have projects like a decentralized version of CDN network called Saturn that improved like retrieval speed to time to first bet to almost 60 milliseconds um, in most areas of the world. And also, this is pretty much near Web 2 experience. To be a good CDN, you need about 30 milliseconds to 80 milliseconds, and above 100 is bad. So when these results are presented, and when things like video playback in live peer is improved drastically by IPFS, when these things can be presented side by side to developers, almost all of them fall in love with it right away. Also, IPFS really currently, as far as decentralized storage protocol and network goes, it's one of the best. That there is no, it's clearly the market leader. If there's the market there. So it's not a hard sell for me. I just have to explain it very well and then demonstrate it and hope the demo works when I do so. Yeah.
And then where do you find what do you find is like are the most common funnels where by which developers and technical teams will sort of either find Filecoin IPFS or will kind of come into our ecosystem? Like what are maybe the more common pathways that these types of people like find you or
Yeah,
us
so I
generally?
think I think a lot of people, we don't have the exact stats, but a lot of people will find our docs when they're trying to look for decentralized technology stacks, and one of them being storage because it's such essential tool. And then so they will find those docs, they will find those videos, start to look at them, study them, but they won't engage until something prompt them to. It's either they need to be told to build something by their bosses or by their organization, or we do a lot of hackathons, right? So we have this thing called Builders Funnel within Filecoin Ecosystem. Builders Funnel consists of hackathons, which are activities to engage developers for innovation competition. And then we do a lot of grants, developer grants. So money can speed up a lot of things, and grants is one of the way to give out public funds for public goods to be able to accelerate certain things. And then we have a team that works with startups, accelerators, and VCs to be able to provide funding to some more established projects. Last year, we participated or sponsored about 77 hackathons. Some of them we hosted, and we reached out to, I think it was 7,000 developers out there, or 3,000. I can't remember the number exactly, but the number of projects that we have received was 1,900
Hmm.
projects that like different ideas. Some of them might be repeating, they're very similar to each other, but a lot of them have done their coding with our technology and intend to build on top of Filecoin and IPFS. Amongst those, we check their coding and check their implementation to see if IPFS and Filecoin technology have been correctly used. There's a minimum requirement on that. About 1,300 of them actually have used it correctly. So it's quite successful in attracting developers who are either interested in crypto, blockchain, or decentralized technology as a big funnel. But not all projects are great, right? Some of them might be just a good idea, but it will never have a commercial pathway. Might be cool for a hackathon project, but it will not be sustainable on its own. So that's why we give out grants. Last year, we approved 500 grants as well from Filecoin Open Grant program. that equates to a lot of millions of dollars of pledged amount to push forward whatever goals that they were approved to go. And grants means we're not after any kind of equity or return of it. Simply is public good. So for people to build their prototypes better or complete their education mission, or run their community events, or etc. Then at the end of the funnel, like some teams might want to raise funds, and they might have demonstrated to the market that they do have a place. They will work with our accelerator teams. I think they helped 100 or so teams last year to raise funds, and that equates to about $120 million. They're not necessarily all coming from Protocol Labs venture or ecosystem fund that we have. I think most of the funding actually were attracted from the outside of our ecosystem. So our goal for the builders funnel is attract as many builders as possible, try our technology, give them grants to keep on going, and then end up with continuity funding. That's kind of the how we want to keep this funnel alive. And that's if we have more teams getting funded, that's more that means a more successful ecosystem funnel.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always thought that like the builder's funnel within the Filecoin ecosystem is really kind of like unrivaled, or maybe that's too sort of grandiose
We
to
can
say
say
that,
that.
but
Yeah, I think.
I feel like it's like one. I mean, it's one of the things when I'm talking about the Filecoin ecosystem with people. I'm like, look, I mean, all these other protocols have their own kind of like grants programs and ways of kind of incentivizing builders and things, but I feel like the Filecoin builders funnel like really is kind of like the model for like, hey, this is how you can sort of like it's like the rocket fuel that takes somebody from, hey, you've got a hackathon idea to like boom getting VC funding. Like it's kind of the whole sequence, right? So I just find like the way that that's been structured and the way that that's been built out is probably the best that I've seen, kind of in Web3 land. So it's a really powerful adoption tool. Um,
We can keep
and
saying
then
that until someone challenges us on this podcast. Yeah,
yeah. Hey, if somebody
we
has
welcome challenges here.
a better prototype for this, please come on and debate us. So challenge is
Sounds
issued.
good.
So, um, and then and maybe kind of wrap things up here. Would love to just get your thoughts on like what parts of the Filecoin ecosystem, Filecoin IPFS ecosystem, are you just most excited about? Just maybe on like a personal, like kind of intellectual level. Like, what do you find most interesting? What are you most excited about? Especially as we're 3 years into Filecoin mainnet, post mainnet launch. Like, what do you find as like what do you find as like the parts of this ecosystem that just really excite you and kind of keep you, motivated to keep building?
Yeah, I think one of the most important thing is every time I look at the network stats, it still amazes me. We have 10 exabyte roll byte capacity. That means a lot of people have acquired hard drives and shoved into professional data center racks and started providing because they believe in this mission of decentralizing the web, and they believe that decentralized storage has a future. Um, Apart from the hardware, if you calculate like 10 exabyte of hard drive, that's a lot of money, even in wholesale prices. But putting the hardwares and bare metal resources aside, the people who runs it are amazing because they're the only group of people in Web3 that have put so much effort in running bare metal infrastructure for Web3, whereas other
Mm-hmm.
projects have varying degrees of success. We have made more meaningful progress in decentralizing the web in terms of encouraging hardware amassing. So from that perspective, our economic system that is designed by Crypto Econ Lab has really worked well. Also, other technologies that excites me every day is the decentralized CDN network. Because as soon as you store something in the network, people will say, "Oh, what's good of storing that if we can't get it back?" So for years, I can say, for years, people have been working on retrieval solutions, and retrieval hasn't been perfect until Saturn provides a solution that is a decentralized CDN network. It's very, very hard to build a CDN network because you need to be reliable, available, and secure. But you also need to encourage permissionless entry so anyone can become a node and provide. And you need to make sure that they play by the rules and not trying to like obscure the data that they serve, right? So it's incredibly hard. But we have built it. We have built a Saturn CDN network, and you can launch it in 5 minutes. I did it. I did it in 12 minutes when Saturn team was trying to launch it on a conference in Lisbon. I was like. I was in the audience seat. I couldn't believe this, and fired up my computer and got it working in about 12 minutes. Have a think what that means. If you were to set up a CDN company to compete with Akamai, Cloudflare, this kind of giants, it will take you months to just get through the white paper. But Saturn was able to start a network that is permissionless. It's powered by crypto economics. You can start this kind of business in minutes. That's why it expands,
Hmm.
like crypto Web3 project expands a lot faster than traditional networks, and it's breaking the existing pattern of doing things. Also, I'm very excited about data onboarding tools. A lot of people have spoken to enterprise clients in our ecosystem, like either whether they're a storage provider, data preppers, or notaries that help to approve data caps for clients to store files on Filecoin. They have spoken to a lot of enterprise customers, and then they said, well, we're actually missing a lot of tools. We're not going to lie about it. Yes, a lot of things are not there when you're trying to really store customers' data on there, or the experience is not as good. So we're building a lot of these tools, and a lot of companies have realized the potential, and they're actually contributing their efforts into building this, and they're in this journey with us. So, for example, we're talking to Banyan Computers, which has acquired about 3 petabytes of storage already from our storage provider, and they're actually building their products, and a launch seems imminent now. And people will be able to purchase like decentralized cloud storage from their systems very soon. So I'm
Oh,
very
wow.
excited about those things. Yeah, look it up. There's about 5 to 6 different software vendors that we're working with. That's Porter's team, Paul, and Yan Bo. We're all working on this goal right now,
Very cool. Very
working with
cool.
the ISVs. Yes, it's going to make data onboarding seamless, and it's hopefully it will just plug into enterprises and business systems, or have no more consumers using that. We actually have a lot of like these products around, but this is like the collective push to enterprise space. What excites me was the FEM, Filecoin Virtual Machine, that came out in April. Over just 4 to 5 months time, we're seeing 12 DeFi protocols that is growing strong. They are able to attract a lot of people staking with them, achieve certain TVLs, some without even doing active marketing. So it's amazing to see that you can build a kind of a circular economy. Well, circular as in like economy that goes around in Filecoin decentralized finance space, and that is what used to be done in a centralized way. So that's what Filecoin virtual machine can power. And also, what excites me the most is Filecoin blockchain has always been designed for storage deals. It's not actually performant as a general purpose blockchain tool, but interplanetary consensus, or IPC in short, is going to change that. So IPC will be able to upgrade Filecoin's consensus mechanism to have a 1 second block speed and 1,000 transactions per second in each subnet, and it allows a hierarchical consensus, meaning that you can run this blockchain not just on Earth. You can run it in the whole solar system, and have planets agree with each other on the in the whole network. So that's pretty exciting. Always keen to see like really applications that are really thinking really far away in the future, in a human's future. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, that's a very good explanation of the interplanetary consensus. I must admit I haven't really looked into that fully, but I've seen the term been floating around. I've seen people mentioning it, but I wasn't aware exactly what it was. So probably need to do a whole episode just on that, right? Because that sounds really exciting. And I guess anything
Yeah,
that's
yeah. The
like
team
space
working on it
related.
is really good. Yeah,
Anything that's
actually,
space
in
related, I'm most sign me up for it. So I'm sign me.
yeah, IPFS is my favorite acronym in Web3 because it's IP interplanetary, and IPC is my favorite three-letter
There we
acronym
go.
in in web. In fact, that one of the thing I want to mention is that in Lisbon, I think IPC team Juan got Vitalik to talk to IPC team for a whole evening there to explain their visions and how they're going to build it, and receive some mentorship from Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum. Um, I think that shows like how groundbreaking this technology is.
Wow, very cool. Um, well, Jenks, it's really great having you on the show here. Would love to just get some final thoughts from you if there's anything else you wanted to mention, and then maybe also how can folks find you if they want to get in touch.
Cool. Yeah. So final thoughts is decentralized tech will be everywhere in the near future. History has told us if there's centralization of power, there will be misuse and abuse at some point. I think it's a trend, and it will actually change how we exchange value and how we deal with each other on a daily basis. But also the social system will be radically changed, and it will the role of certain centralized authority will never be the same with these kind of tools being ubiquitous. That role will be a skill I think many people will need to have in their job role, or many developers will need to be able to sort of take on this role themselves. You can't be an introvert kind of a coder forever. I think it's with the team shrinking, company becoming smaller and smaller, you got to take on this kind of roles sooner or later. Jobs will be more multifaceted. So, and also to everyone out there, don't doubt new technologies. Join the movement. Really learn what it is, the good parts, and see how it can be used. A lot of funders will ignore all the FUD and try to learn what is the technology offering and what the current state is and whether I can use it. And the last thing is I've always sort of planned my career a little bit ahead and think of what I wanted, where I wanted to end up in maybe 10 or 5 years, and then reverse engineer what I need to do today. So I was really lucky that Filecoin's reach out was able to accelerate my learning, my agenda in the blockchain space. So otherwise, I would have worked very slowly towards this part. Yeah. So that's my closing thoughts.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, Amazing. Well, Jenks, thanks so much for your time today. It's really great having you on the show here, getting kind of a brain dump from you. And thanks everyone else out there for watching. And we will be back next time with another great episode of DWeb Decoded.
Thank you, Aaron.